An early summer morning on the Chesapeake. The day springs to life at Deal Island with the sounds of men heading out to work on the water. Their ultimate destinations? Unknown. Also getting an early start is Steve White, who steers a course south and west toward the Holland Straits. But White's not fishing. Like most days, he's motoring across Tangier Sound, heading for his usual destination. Holland Island, an isolated wedge of mud and sand, once home to rugged Chesapeake watermen. Now the Chesapeake is swallowing Holland Island, washing it away. It's slowly disappearing, like hundreds of other Chesapeake Islands have, melting into the bay with each ripple of time and tide. White visited as a boy, returned years later, and finally bought most of this drowning island in the 1990s. Right now, his goal is to save the remaining structure, the old Grant House, nearly swept off the island by Hurricane Isabel in 2003.
I've had several people say, you can't fight nature. Why are you trying to do this when you know the island's going to be taken away? Well, I can't accept that.
He hopes preserving and restoring the historic house will attract the public support he needs to fund restoration of the entire island to its original size. A daunting task, even for an optimist like White.
At this point is the most critical of all because it has the last remaining house of 60 on this island, and Hurricane Isabel damaged it terribly. It went right through it. So we're trying, at the same time we're trying to fix up the house, we're trying to protect the house by building up the shoreline on the bay side.
All because nature has a plan for Holland Island. When settled in the late 1600s, the wooded island was 225 acres. One part, known as the Western Ridge, rose more than 40 feet above sea level, but storms and waves were too much for the island. Residents saw large-scale effects from erosion in the late 1800s, but they were powerless to stop it. Today, the island is broken into 3 sections. Much of where a thriving fishing village stood is gone. White believes the government could restore the island using dredged materials from the bay and new environmental restoration technologies, much like Poplar Island's reconstruction north of here. But time is running out.
This island is really eroding away very quickly. And Isabel, which came through 3 years ago, it seemed to accelerate everything. In this area, we lost 75 feet of shore in 2 years, including very important points of land that was jutting out that helped protect the coast and help accrue soil. And the island is losing 1 or 2 acres a year, and in some cases more than that. You have to fight it. You can fight it technically and strategically, and you can win. But it takes will, it takes money, it takes people with a positive attitude, not the naysayers.
White, who's a retired Methodist minister, is motivated by the strong emotional bond he's formed with the island, its history, and its long-past residents. He also worries about habitat and about the birds that pack the island in summer.
This island is probably the most densely populated with wildlife of any island in the bay. There are probably 2,000 pelicans here right now, nesting all over the place. There's a heron rookery, a herring gull rookery, blackback gull rookery, a tern rookery. There's 2 eagles' nests on the island, 4 or 5 osprey nests. And they were chased from Spring Island, the pelicans were, by Hurricane Isabel scouring the land. They came over here. Now, if this disappears, where are they going to go? Where's the wildlife going to find habitat suitable? Away from subdivisions. And they need nesting material, which they find here. And when islands like this go, they no longer have it. They're stressed to death right now.
What the birds are witnessing is the island's long decline coming to a slow close. The land's still sinking. sea levels still rising, and the waves' steady scouring of the island's sand and mud shell. All part of a natural history lesson that wasn't lost on the settlers of Holland Island.
They had a good life. They had socials at the Red Men's Hall. The Ladies' Aid worked to help the people in the community. And there were several roads here, all leading to the church and the school. The church and the school was like the hub of a wheel, with roads coming in all directions to it, which was the center of their life. They had nice boats. They had 2 crab shedding operations here. They had a blacksmith. They had millwrights over here, and it was a community not unlike other communities. So it was an active place. It seems like around 1900 that erosion really stepped it up. My theory is the West Ridge, it was up to 40 feet high in some places. And then the waves and ice was getting right at that sandbank. And it really took off. I can imagine the people got pretty discouraged at that time, and 1 or 2 of them began to think the unthinkable. We're going to have to move.
By the early 1900s, nearly all Holland Islanders had moved everything they owned east to the mainland, even their houses. Only a few diehards risked staying. For White, the most important islanders are the ones who were left behind.
And here is where Effie Lee and her mother are buried. I think the way we are as a people, it's the respect we have for our departed, that we try to build some sort of small monument or pay some kind of tribute to them. In memory of Effie L. Wilson, daughter of John W. and Annie A. Wilson. Born January 16, 1880. I don't like to see one of the graves wash out. It's like a part of me is being destroyed. Her epitaph reads, "Forget-me-not is all I ask. I could not ask for more than to be cherished by my friends so loving and so dear. Dearest Effie, thou hast left us, and our loss we deeply feel. But 'tis God that hast bereft us. He can all our sorrows heal."
Steve White will continue to fight for Holland Island, but he'd gladly give it all away.
Yes, indeed, because that's more important than me owning it.
All he wants in return is a promise that the island's past and future are kept safe from the relentless waves of Chesapeake Bay.